All right, so let's talk about drafting. Drafting, what it basically lets us do is it lets us create a geometry. Once we've created the geometry from our sketch and our extrude function, we can then modify it after the fact. So up to now, all we know how to do is create a geometry, and after we've created this geometry, that's the way it's going to stay. And we can only make minor changes to this, the appearance of it. But if we're drafting, we can make some significant changes, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's start by creating a sketch, a new sketch. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and click a sketch, make the sketch as it is in your book example. Okay. And I'll give it the dimensions, the same dimensions that it has in the tab. So let's go ahead and do some constraints to get it to read what it has in the tab. So the text, this is 7 inches, this is 5 inches, this is 4 inches, and this is 2.5. Of course, you can always fit it to the screen. So now you see our sketch is fully constrained. So let's go ahead and finish it. Okay? Now, once we finish this, let's go ahead and extrude it to 2 inches. So we finish the sketch. We're going to select it again, and we're going to extrude it 2 inches. And what I'm wanting to do now is I'm wanting to make, now that I've extruded it, I want to make these sides of this particular shape come out of the surface with an angle up leading up to the top of this surface, to the top part. So how can we do that? Well, we're going to go to Insert, Detail Features, and we're going to click Draft. Okay. And for the type of draft we're going to do, we're going to select draft from plane. Okay. The direction we want to go, it's guessing the right direction with the input direction, but let's make sure we have a positive G coordinate, or the positive ZC direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the bottom face now as the stationary plane. That means that this side of the face is not going to be moving, it's going to be stationary. Now we just need to select the faces that we want to draft this object in. So what we need to do is select an input angle at 20 degrees. Okay. And I'm going to pick these first two faces. I'm going to select this face and this face. Those are the first two angles I want to select. Then I'm going to push the center mouse button in. And just click the center mouse button in, this mouse button too. And I'm going to select the third face for the second face. And this third face is going to be this one. So I'm going to select an angle of 30 degrees for this one. Okay? And then I'm going to click OK. So you see what we did. We modified this shape so that it angles the dimension of this extruded figure. After the fact, and after we had already extruded. So that's another tool that we're going to be able to use in the future if we want to make changes to something. We'll do an example here, either in this lecture or the next one, where we have a figure that may be a complicated sketch, but we choose to do some of these modifications in order to make it an easier sketch, and after the fact do some changes. Okay, so let me go ahead and do another tutorial. I'll start a new project, as I mentioned, using the agents. Now I'm going to go ahead and start a new sketch. And let's go ahead and make a profile. I'll have the first point starting at the origin, and let's go ahead and make it somewhat like it looks in the textbook. And we start everything. So we're going to go ahead and select a new sketch. I made a mistake. It was too close to where I wanted to start. I'm going to go ahead and select a new profile. And the shape looks something like this. And we're going to, again, use our constraints in order to set some of the dimensions that we need to in order to have a further constrained object here. Okay? I believe that this also is given. We have the length from here to here is given. And of course, we can always make modifications to this as we need to. So let's go ahead and select this also. One thing I see is that the line I've created here is not perfectly horizontal. Let's go ahead and constrain it to be horizontal. That way we can go ahead and measure this distance here. Okay, so I think this is a pretty well almost constrained object. Let's set some of the dimensions that we need. This is a dimension of 3 in the front. This is a dimension of 2.5. This is a dimension of 1. And this is a dimension of 3. This is a dimension of 7. And we need this last dimension here, which is, what is that? So here should be at distance of 2. I'll go ahead and move this dimension over here. Okay. So I think we have just about all of our constraints and our dimensions in place for this object. The only one that we are lacking now is this distance between these two lines. So let's go ahead and select a dimensioning tool, and let's select the perpendicular option between these two, and we'll select this distance to be 1.5. Okay. So there, now our sketch should be fully constrained. I'm going to go ahead and finish this sketch. And I'm going to go ahead and extrude it 4 inches. So we're going to go ahead and select this curve. Let's extrude it a distance of 4 inches. And then our extruded constrained sketch. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this very similar thing to what I did before, except I'm going to impression it from a little bit different viewpoint. I'm going to use the edges of this object in order to construct it. So let's go to Insert, Detail Feature, and I'll go ahead and select Wrap. Okay, I'm going to select Edge 4 for my draw direction. Edge 4. And the arrow in this case should be pointing up, and it is. And for the stationary plane, or the stationary edges that I'm going to select, I'm going to go, and instead, and I should mention also, instead of from planes, we are selecting from edges. I should mention that. So let me go ahead and also select the edges that I want to select. So we're going to select this one, 1, 2, 3 edges. And my stationary edge, I'm going to put it at an angle of 30 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and click the center mouse button. Okay. I'm going to turn this shape around now, and I want to select these other 2 edges, other 3 edges as well, for my stationary plane. So what you see now, what we've done is a shape where we have these edges inclined at an angle of 30 degrees. And you can see that from our sketch, you can see that it's drawn about 30 degrees from that point. So that gives you a tool to use for modifying these sketches. So I'm going to give the last lecture of Chapter 7 on the next video, and it has to do with Section 7.4, which is the chamfering of an object.